go, AJ.
Yep. Last one. Come on. Yep. Strong. Come on. Come on.
I started feeling in my hamstrings.
Yeah, right. If you hold it,
Kamara, you're the reason that Colby Covington hates Jimmy now.
Oh, really?
Because they had you in studio, and that's the day I missed you because I had something at my kid's school or something. But so then he called in when you were here, and they feel like Chris, the producer, set him up.
No, he thought I set him up.
Chris, the producer, I think.
He thought I set him up, but I was like, I don't book the show.
Because they know he has a beef with. Yeah.
He's just a pussy. Nobody set him up. Like, don't be a pussy. We called in for a show. You're doing a show. You're preparing for a fight, and this is part of doing the media.
Yeah.
I just happened to be in studio. We basically got double booked that day.
Yeah.
I tried to keep it as professional as possible.
Yeah.
But when you continue to talk out of your ass like an idiot, saying, "Oh, well, after this fight, I'm going to get on my private jet and fly back home," you don't have a fucking private jet. You live in the dorms at American Top Team. What the fuck are you talking about? Like when you talk out of your ass, you can see. You know, it's insecure. You can feel whatever way you want to feel, but nobody set him up. I kept it as professional as I could in that interview, even though I wanted to basically call him a jackass for all the shit that he was talking. But, you know, Jimmy, don't worry about him. He can blame whoever he wants to blame. He's not going to do anything if he sees you except roll his eyes like a little girl.
Ready. Up. 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 Hold. Up. Hold. Up. Come on. There you go. Up. All the way down. All the way down. All the way down. Up. Come on. There we go. Dynamic. Up. 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 Up.
Ferguson, I don't know if you saw this, but posted something about you guys running into each other at UFC 181, and his coach told him something that you can't big league a big leaguer. Did you see this post, and do you know what he's talking about?
I did. I heard about the post. I don't follow anybody on social media like that, so I'm not sure. I'm not sure when he posted it, but yeah, I do. I know what he's talking about. It was UFC 181, and that was a long time ago. I was getting ready to fight Gilbert Melendez at the time. And he tried to come train at a gym that I was already training at. And my coaches asked his coaches to wait or come back when our session was done because most likely we'd be fighting each other. So if he took that as disrespect, that's on him. I mean, that's his common sense. You're not going to go watch somebody train that you're going to be fighting potentially. So that's on him.
So that's what he's talking about. All these, what was that? Like, I think that was 4 years ago, almost 4 years ago, UFC 181.
If somebody can remember something from 4 years ago, that's crazy to me. Like, I don't even remember UFC 226.
So when you first heard about this, you actually had to think about what he was talking about.
Well, I had to get Duke actually tell me what he was talking about. Duke was talking on the phone about it. He's like, "Yeah, remember when you were training?" Because I was training. I had no part of that. Like my coaches asked his coaches to wait till we were done.
Wow.
And if that's a disrespect, then bring. I feel like he's reaching, man. So if he needs some motivation, use what he's got to use, man. Because I'm coming.
Kamara, and I would love to see you fight both of those guys or either of those guys. But if Woodley gets hurt and you step in, it would just be a main event fight between you and Till, correct?
I don't know what they're calling it. I'm not going to put that title out there. I mean, if they want to throw interim titles around, I don't mind that. You know, so it doesn't matter. I don't know what it would be. It doesn't matter. Bottom line is, I'm preparing for both guys if anything happens. But obviously, preferably, if I would rather fight Woodley that night than Till, but it doesn't matter to me. I mean, both are big fights. Both are the fights that I want. I've been wanting, and I think those are the fights that make sense for me. Either one of those fights.
Sure. Now, listen, we know in this game people do get hurt, and there's been wacky stuff lately where, whatever, guys don't make weight, and next thing you know, they do fall out. So I understand your position, but, as a guy that went through many camps, how are you going to approach this for getting ready for a 5-round fight? Because it's grueling. It's brutal getting through a training camp normally, and you have a goal. You're set to fight, though. That's the payoff. You're going to have to go through this camp, and there's a very good chance you're not going to be able to fight. So how do you stay motivated for that?
Yeah, you're right, Matt. It's tough, but the big thing with when you have a set fight and you're training for that fight and that opponent, a big thing is you have to deal with the stressors of man, I got to do this good. My opponent is great at this. I got to make sure that I work this. I'm perfect there, and things like that. And then you start to kind of doubts creep in your mind. Did I prepare enough for my opponent? Did I study them enough? And so the good thing about my situation is I don't have to worry about that. It's just I'm just training, and my style, anyways. I can fight anybody. There's not one thing that absolutely, that I'm not good at. I'm good at everything. It's just a matter of me polishing myself, just worrying about myself, making sure that I am in shape enough to go 5 rounds and push the pace and basically finish the fight wherever that fight goes. So that's the big thing for me. It's I don't have to worry about just training for a specific guy. I kind of have the best of it right now. I'm just relaxed. I'm just training hard, and whoever it is, I'll be ready to fight.
Daniel Cormier now obviously the heavyweight champion of the UFC, as still the light heavyweight champion. If John Jones comes back at heavyweight and it gets booked for November the 3rd at UFC 230, who wins that? Who wins that? Because we saw Daniel Cormier take out Stipe Miocic and he looked great at heavyweight, Dan. So who wins the 3rd fight with them at a different weight?
Dare I say it, I think John Jones wins it. I think John Jones wins it at any weight class. Whether he's clean or not, I think he's been clean the majority of his career. I think the mistakes that he's made have been short-sightedness. Not being too observant of his diet, of what he's taking in during his what's it called, the testing period, the window of competition. I mean, the thing he tested positive for that he'd had after the weigh-ins was just a ridiculous oversight, surely. I kind of have to forgive him a little bit and think that a lot of it is just him not being a professional. And I hate to say that, but that's more what stands out than anything else is just his lack of professionalism. But I think that he's probably learned these lessons now, and I think that will probably allow him to become the best version of himself that he's ever going to be. And he's so dangerous no matter what weight he's at. He's got the reach of Stefan Struve. You've got to keep that in mind when he steps up to heavyweight.
Yep. I think John Jones beats him at Conkers. He beats him at Tiddlywinks. He beats him at table tennis. I think the only thing DC's favourite in would be a hot dog eating contest, to be honest.
Oh, double chin.
Yeah.
Do you know, I'd watch all of those contests between John Jones and Daniel Cormier. I don't think there has ever been a better rivalry, especially because of the fact that he lost one of the bouts through a drug suspension. Can you think of a better rivalry than those two?
I don't know. Eubank Ben was pretty good.
Eubank Ben was good, but in the UFC,
there's been there's been some better fights that have thrown up rubber matches and things like that. Obviously, for me, this rivalry it's been entertaining, but it's been so one-sided when the action gets down to it. In UFC history, we've seen a lot more fights go one way than the other, and then we've needed a rubber match decider. But this is certainly a rivalry that will continue. I think Cormier right now will feel, as the heavyweight champion, the advantages are back towards him because he won't be dieting, he will be full size, he's in a weight class that he's never lost a fight in before. I think that's why there's been no noise of him going back down to light heavy. But I don't think it's going to come next either. I still think Daniel Cormier will fight Brock Lesnar next, and I think John Jones is going to have to wait his turn next spring.
Oh, come on, there's no wait in the turn. I think Brock Lesnar's a big name, but if John Jones was back at 230, DC would take it.
I don't know.
But
I don't know. I think Brock Lesnar's a big name that Daniel Cormier would love to have on his resume, and that's a far easier fight than John Jones.
But imagine how much it would burn if John Jones did swoop in and beat Daniel Cormier and then sit there ready for Brock Lesnar to come back.
Cormier,
that would...
Cormier wouldn't be able to show his face in his own household.
Come on, the UFC.
That'd be the nail in the coffin. That'd be really bad. I kind of never want to see that happen to
No, me
DC
neither.
because
He
I've already
doesn't
seen
deserve
him
it.
cry, after his loss. It's heartbreaking because I know what it feels like to lose, but not on that kind of stage, not with that kind of pressure and that kind of rivalry. I mean, that's like someone stealing your soul, surely.
Yeah, the stage has been set now with the Brock Lesnar pantomime, nose to nose after the Stipe victory. That's got to play out. That narrative has got to play out. And Daniel Cormier deserves to have his hand raised over a stricken Brock Lesnar. But this fight will happen. It will be John Jones next year, and John Jones will be the new heavyweight champion.